Hello, friends. When you communicate with someone, anyone, you typically use words and body language to convey your meaning. When you connect with someone, that can take different forms. Verbal and written words can convey deep connection between family and friends, as can a pat, a hug, or more intimate gestures. Doing a shared activity together without words, such as playing a game, is connection. Members of the audience at a concert or theater or exhibit are connected through that shared experience. Hello, I'm Dr. Renee Harmon. I'm the author of Surfing the Waves of Alzheimer's. I've been writing and publishing these blog posts now for almost 3 years, and I've posted many times about communicating with someone who is living with Alzheimer's disease or another dementia. But those blog posts assume that the loved one is in the early or middle stages of Alzheimer's disease. What I want to address today is connecting with persons living in the very last stages of Alzheimer's disease. So obviously communication is much more difficult as the disease progresses. But they're still communicating, and oftentimes it's with their behavior. So if you can look behind the behavior to try to figure out what they are communicating to you, that goes a long way. So oftentimes frustration or anxiety or sadness will come out as a certain behavior. Likewise, your behavior, your body language conveys and communicates to your loved one something that you're feeling, and they're very quick to pick up on what you are communicating to them and will oftentimes reflect it back to you, so that if you're anxious, they will become anxious. So even though communication is increasingly compromised as the disease progresses, you can continue to connect with your loved one through all stages of Alzheimer's disease using the 5 senses, right? So sound. So I've already talked about communicating verbally, and you can actually still communicate verbally, just the meaning, the comprehension may not be there. I still recommend using the techniques that I've discussed before, approaching them at eye level, face to face, calling them by their name, introducing yourself by your name and your relationship with them. But the content of what you say is not as important at this very late stage. It's just a comfort to them to hear your voice, even if you just prattle on. Reading to your loved one can be a way of connecting, especially if you can read favorite passages of theirs from books or poetry or the Bible. You could listen to animal sounds or babies or birds together. Much has been written about the power of music in the late stages of Alzheimer's disease. So listen to music together, preferably music of their youth. And by that I mean from their teens and 20s. Sight. Looking at photo albums together is another great way to connect with your loved one. They may not recognize anybody in the photographs, but just the smiling faces is a gentle, pleasurable way to spend time. And if you bring old photo albums, they might be able to recognize some of the people in the photograph as you talk, as you sit close, look at those photographs together and discuss them. You could look at picture books together, especially highly colored photograph picture books of subjects that are interesting, that were interesting to them. I have a friend who brought in books about space to her father-in-law, who was an aeronautic engineer. You could look at videos together, nature videos, cat videos, dog videos, babies laughing videos. There's so much you can do around watching. You could go outside together and point out the different flowers and trees and birds. You could look at an aquarium or an aviary together. Touch. A gentle back massage or back rub, shoulder rub conveys a deep connection. Bringing a fragrant lotion and doing a hand massage is a nice way to spend time. Just feeling a soft blanket can be nice. Petting an animal, be it live or robotic, can be very soothing. Taste. Let your loved one eat his or her favorite foods, and maybe it's not so important to stick with those dietary guidelines this late in the disease, but you need to be mindful about foods that are difficult to swallow, because swallowing is a difficulty this late in the disease. So think smooth foods such as popsicle, pudding, ice cream. And smell. So we know that the sense of smell diminishes with age as well as with progression of the disease. So strong but pleasant smells are a good way to connect with your loved one. You could bring in grass clippings, freshly ground coffee, herbs and spices, lemon peel, orange peels, fragrant flowers, and smell them together. Again, connecting with your loved one can happen throughout Alzheimer's disease, and it has such great benefits to your loved one because it conveys to them that you care, that you are there, and that you are available to do these shared activities together. But it benefits you as a caregiver as well, as a reminder that you are still connected to your loved one. Thank you. Be well and keep your balance.